Good morning everyone. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on the topic, Student Choice-Based Enrollment in Higher Education. This webinar is brought to you by CAMU, a global edtech solution provider that offers a unified SIS and LMS solution. CAMU has transformed the learning experience of over 400 institutions, 1.2 million students across 7 countries. Now let us begin with a small introduction to the company and continue with the webinar. Now let me introduce the speaker. Please welcome Sheikh Fayazuddin, Product Specialist at CAMU.
A very good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the session today. I'm Fayaz, I'm their Product Specialist. I'll be leading the session. Before we go deeper into the live demonstration, I'd like to throw some light on the choice-based credit system as such, and also how the flexibility can be brought into the CAMU system. Let me quickly share my screen. Now, when I speak about the flexibility in enrollment, as a system, as we all know, the whole education as such is moving to the student-centric processes, right? It could be any global, practices like the US Accord or the CL Accord or India, more of the NEP 2020, where the whole we have all come to a consensus that in education, conceptually, like every size, one size fits all is no more going to work, right? So where giving immense flexibility for students in terms of choosing what they want to study, under whom they want to study, and at what pace they are wanting to study at, right? Talking about flexibility, it's also in terms of academic journeys, where each student has their own academic journey. They are doing it at their own pace, right? Likewise, when I say student centricity, alignment with multiple policies, as you can see, the notion of categorizing courses into different categories or subcategories does not qualify itself to be a flexible environment where even though I'm categorizing them, in a sense it gives a holistic learning to the student, but yet they're not extending choice for the student to choose what he wants to study, right? So the whole idea is giving that flexibility to the system. And as a product, CAMU helps in automating the registration process. It could be validation of the courses, it could be the lecture scheduling, or it could also be linking each of the courses to different academic concepts like the deferments or being able to raise course fees. All these are possible using the system. So that is just to give you a quick idea on what would be the agenda of the session. So probably the next 30-40 minutes I'll be taking you deep into different areas where how I'm able to as a student, how is his experience of choosing the courses or going ahead with enrollment, as an administrator or as a academic team that is going to take care of this registrations. How do I create my program offerings? How do I govern it? Can I do the enrollments from our end? How do I do the validations, right? Likewise, post that we'll have a good questionnaire on different conceptual things, and we are happy to take in feedback as well. That is just to give you a quick idea on the choice-based enrollment process and how we can bring in flexibility into the system. So let me take you into the product. The orange color screen that you're looking at is a faculty or an administrator's login. So I'd like to start with something called as the program offering, where we are able to, go ahead and define the number of credits a student needs to earn in order to get a degree or a diploma program, right? And how I can actually categorize them, subcategorize them, define validations, prerequisites, co-requisites, right? All of this can be seen in the system. So if you can see here, this is a program offering screen. So let us say there is a business program being offered by School of Business. Again, you can have multiple kinds of majors, minors. You can create different types of plans. So what you're looking at is a basic plan where, if I can edit it and show you, if you can see, in order to get that degree in a business program, the student is expected to complete 124 credits. So these 124 credits, as you can see, you can categorize them, subcategorize them, limit at every category what is the minimum courses he has to take inevitably, and what is the maximum he can go up to, right? So you can define that in this particular screen, right? Post to this, you can also have things like in a given semester, right? What is the minimum number of credits the students can do? What is the maximum he can take, right? So it will be more like the idea of having a student like a first year, second year, third year will become obsolete. It will be more of there are 2 semesters running. Students can go choose to study whichever courses they want to in that particular offering of the term or the semester. And obviously there's a conceptually something called as free elective, where even though I am an engineering student, right, the university or the institution itself can be offering multiple cross domain courses. So I can go ahead, choose few courses in arts, choose few courses in allied health sciences. So free elective is something where student is given complete freedom to choose any external courses out of his interest. And in that particular program, if you can see here, there are 58 subjects being offered. They're calling this modules, based on the geographies. Some may call it subjects as well. And if you can see, out of the 58 subjects being offered, I have made 19 as mandatory, right? Now, if you can drill down, as you can see here, what is the module or the subject, code of the subject, which department is offering it, how many credits, in which term it is being offered, right? What kind of course it is, and its category, subcategory. So I'm able to mandate them, right? Also, the validation of a prerequisite and a co-requisite. As you can see here, when I'm defining the program offering itself, I'm actually defining the prerequisites and co-requisites. This can very well be done when the definition of the course, which I'm going to show you. But if you can see, as you can see, maybe in order to do advanced level mathematics, the student must have completed a basic math with so and so graded, right? You can see here, if I make this a hard requisite, unless he has a minimum of B, the system will not allow them to choose that particular course. So the validation is automatically taken care of. And talking about the core requisites, right? Now, if I need to take a physics course, the system will enroll me into a physics laboratory as well. So we do have prerequisites, core requisites. We're conceptually building up something called as an anti-requisite as well, right? Where if there are two similar courses, right? If the student has already enrolled himself into X, and the system will not allow him to him or her to enroll in a similar course Y, right? So we're bringing in that anti-requisite as well. So that is to broadly show you a small setup of course offering, which will actually act as as a bridge for the students to go ahead and do their enrollment. Now, when the student wants to do their enrollments, we do it in 2 phases. We do have something called as a pre-enlistment, right? Where, as you can see, the blue color screen, this is a student's login. Now, if you can see the enrollment screen, we do have pre-enlistment and we do have the regular enrollment. Let me take you to one more place to show you that pre-enlistment process. So if you can see, as a student, I normally this pre-enlistment process is done a week or a 10 days before the actual enrollment, so that I get to see, okay, say some 57 courses are being offered for the student. The students can go ahead and show their interest on which courses they are wanting to take. This does not guarantee the enrollment to the student, but I can go ahead and choose few courses. If you can see here, the system is telling me that I've chosen already 5 courses. I yet to have 14 credits that I can use. Right, 16 credits have been selected. Right. So where the idea is, let us say, post this pre-enlistment, as an institution that is going to go ahead and prepare the lecture schedules. Right. I get an understanding. Okay, there is a AI-based course where there are 600 students interested. I can go ahead and keep in more of my resources there. There is a database management course where only 2 students have enrolled. I can, scrap off that course. So that is the whole idea of a pre-enlistment. I have multiple pre-enlistment reports that will actually help me to do this process. Post the pre-enlistment, institutes know which program, which students, where I'm putting in more of my resources. Now, once I do the lecture scheduling, I open the enrollment for the students. As students, as you can see, there can be different sets of enrollments, multiple parallel terms as well. I get to see, okay, what are all the offered courses, right? Now, if you can see, if there are courses with prerequisites, co-requisites, I can see them here. I go ahead, I can have a time limit for a withdrawal, last date for enrollment, all of this can be seen. And as a student, I get to see, okay, what are the minimum credits? What are the maximum credits I can choose in this semester? I can go ahead and do a full registration where I might be doing the course for the very first time. I'll do all my sessionals and then I'll move towards more of the regular terminal examinations. Or if I'm repeating the course, I can go ahead and choose only exam registration, where you can see the system is showing me the number of attempts, right? I get to understand that how many attempts I've done. In this case, I might not need to attend the sessions, it's only repeating the examination. And obviously, there is a free elective registration as well, right? So where these are courses that are offered across different departments in the university, students can go ahead and choose to study what they want to. Now, when I talk about the registration process, student gets to see all the list of courses that he has already enrolled, he's yet to enroll, right? Now, if I see, let us say there's a business accounting course, right? I can go ahead, before I actually enroll, I get to see, okay, what does this course actually deal with, right? I'd like to know a little more about it. I get to see all the information about the course, about the outcomes, maybe the expectations from the student side. Fine, I'm interested in this particular subject. I can go ahead and I choose to study it either under Professor Timothy or Professor Lee. And as you can see, it is on a Friday, Monday, and a Wednesday. It's on a Thursday and a Tuesday. So based on the student's flexibility, based on the student's interest, he can go ahead and choose to study under whomever he wants to, right? And before he's trying to enroll in the course, if you can see here, I get an option to check the status, right? Where the system will tell me, how many seats are vacant. Let me just take you to one more place to show that to you. If you can see here, I can actually check the status, right? That will tell me, okay, one out of 40 seats are already occupied. So I'll get to see how fast or how slow the seats are actually getting are closed, right? And then when I try to enroll, right, the system is intelligent enough. It will also tell me if there are any conflicts in terms of credit limits, any conflicts in terms of scheduling, right? Where if I already enrolled some other subject at the same time, right? So those conflicts are automatically taken care of. Now, over and top of this, we do have things like the moment I enroll into a course, a fee is raised with respect to that particular course, and the student will be enrolled post he doing the payment of those particular fees. Likewise, there are conceptually things like you have dean's list, honors list, where for a specific set of students, right, the enrollment cycle could be different, right? So all those things can be done. I'll take you to some screens where that will show you those configurations. Before to that, let me actually show you at a course level or at a subject level itself how all these configurations can be brought in. what you're looking at is a subject that or the modules that we call, where you define them and where you're able to actually configure them, right? If you can see here, I'm just editing one subject for you. You get to see which department is offering it. You know, you can have default credits. If at all faculty would like to change the credits, what category, you know, which kind of subcategory, and then this is where I can actually go ahead and define the capacity, right? Where I can limit, number of students enrolling in that particular subject. And then you can have things like splitting of your credits. If this is a non-course work, if it is more like a self-study, different grading system for different courses. And then, as I said, prerequisites, co-requisites, and this is a screen where I can go ahead and define the enrollment fee for each of those courses, right? And then obviously auto exempt, or we do have conceptually things like deferment and mandating to subjects. Those also can be done here, right? Now, once I define this, as I said, I have multiple enrollment configurations, which I'll give you some glimpses on. So if you can see, before the enrollment, if I'd like to check the outstanding fees, or if I'd like to have some enrollment impacts, right? Or if you can see, if there is a drop post enrollment, the drop or penalties, right? And then, the honors list, there are a set of rules that you can trigger, and those can be considered as ineligibility rules for the students, right? And then if you can see any specific enrollment, this is where I go ahead and define the dates. And also, if you can see, there are multiple cycles, right? Where when I say a specific cycle, I can define the start dates and end dates. I can have, when can enroll, if there's an enrollment penalty, or if there's an auto drop, what should be the auto drop penalty. And if you can see, this is a set of list of students, right? I can go ahead and choose the honors list or dean's list or specific sports merit list, right? So, and I can put a set of students in that list, and those students will have a priority based, or a different cycle for the enrollment as such, right? Now, the second question could be, how do I have a control over the enrollment, just in a case if the institute wants one more level of governance, or if the institute wants to, bulk push certain enrollments, right? So all those can very well be done. When I talk about approvals as such, if you can see here, I can go ahead and see the list of students, which subjects, which courses or subjects they're trying to enroll. I can go ahead and approve them, reject few courses. All this is possible. Or if I'd like to do a bulk push of the students into specific enrollments, I can do that using this particular screen. If you can see here, I do have the upload option where I'm able to upload students into a set of courses, right? Or if you'd like to see, fine, now we understand that day one, the enrollment begins, say, 10,000 students, some 20,000 different types of courses, subjects being offered. Now, each of the student will have a different academic journey, right? They do own their, academic journey. Now, how do, as an institution, I have a control over, okay, how much percentage of their courses have they completed, right? Or I'd like to know this semester, what are their active courses they are a part of, right? So in order to have that governance over the student life cycle, you can very well have it through the student's profile, or I as a mentor or a mentee, right? We do have a very strong mentor-mentee mechanism. I'd like to show that one particular screen through which I can govern the student. Now, if you can see, Daniel is a mentor under whom there are multiple mentees, right? Now I can go ahead and choose Tessa's academic journey, right? I get to see, okay, that particular student, Tessa, has completed 24% towards the graduation. So out of 124 credits, she has completed 50 credits. I click, I get to see, okay, what are all, I can see how many free electives, how many earned credits, these 50 credits, how she has earned, right? That course, what is the status of the course, what grade she has achieved can be seen from here, right? And then likewise, I also can see the current term, what are all the credits that the student, or all the courses that the student is enrolled into, right? Or I'd like to see it category wise, right? Which category, which, how many credits she has earned, how many she's yet to earn can be seen, right? Likewise, if you ask me, can the mentor on the behalf of the mentee, because I as a mentor, I know my mentee's strengths, inclinations, so that can I go ahead and choose some courses for them? If the institutes have those kind of requirements, we fully satisfy them. If you can see here, I can go into the student's profile, right? I can go ahead and enroll them, right? I can choose to enroll the students. Now, if you can see here, it is showing me what is the availability, which time slots, right? I can go ahead, and when I'm trying to enroll, the system is telling me that there is a conflict that forbids you from enrolling, because there's already one particular plant safety course on a Thursday. It is clashing with this particular. If you can see here, on a Thursday it is clashing, and it's a conflict, right? Now, I as a just in case if the institutes choose to, I can actually go ahead and override certain rules. It would be rules of prerequisites, rules of capacity, rules in terms of semester level credits or free elective limits, and obviously time conflicts and fee related rules. So they do have an option to override if that is needed, and I can go ahead and still enroll that particular student, right? Now that is how the enrollment would happen. And if at all, if there's a withdrawal happening from the student side, or if there's a withdrawal being done by the mentor themselves, you can have the full history. When did they enroll? What was the action, and who has done it? Is the student himself, or is it done by their mentor? Right. So these, this flexibility also exists within the system. Right. Now the immediate question would be, uh, what if how do I bring in make things a lot more easier for the student? This whole enrollment process can actually be done in the mobile itself by the student, so that they don't even need to come over to have open the browsers or go ahead with the enrollment. So let me take you into the mobile app as well, show you some glimpses in the mobile itself, how the student is able to go ahead and do his course registration using the mobile itself, right? So Camu happens to be the faculty, or I'm sorry, my Camu happens to be the student or the parent app. Camu happens to be the faculty or the administrative app. I'm just logging in as a student. The moment you can see on the landing page, I get to have multiple accesses here. But for the today's session, what we're interested is in the enrollment process. So if you can see here, the moment enrollment starts, I get to see, okay, what are the enrollment dates, and I can see what are all the subjects that I have enrolled in this particular semester already, and I get to see offered courses. Category wise, what are the courses that are offered? If there are any prerequisites or co-requisites, I can click on it. I can get to see what is the prerequisite and co-requisites. Right, I can see the offered courses, and I can also see what are all the courses that I have completed already. Okay. Now I'm going ahead and I'm trying to enroll myself. This is how the enrollment would look like. I believe this particular as the enrollment is expired, it's not allowing me in. Just give me one moment. I'll log in as another student to show you this process. So if you can see here, I've logged in as a student. There could be multiple terms in which the enrollment is active. I go ahead and I get to see, okay, is it, I'd like to do a full registration or I'd like to do only exam registration. If you can see all the courses that are being offered, the courses that I've already enrolled into, the one that I've not enrolled into. And then if you can see here, if at all there's the same course being taught by multiple people, that can also be seen in the system. So if you can see same course, information and security and cybercrime is being taught by Professor Catherine, is being taught by Professor Adrien as well. The student can go ahead and choose to enroll it under whomever they want. And when they try to enroll, they can see what kind of registration, when are these sessions happening. I can even check the availability, how many seats are vacant and how many have already been filled in, right? The student can choose to enroll using the mobile itself, and the moment he enrolls, just in a case whenever there is a fee raised for that particular enrollment, you can go ahead and do the payment very well from the same billing screen, right? So that is how the student has a flexibility in terms of being able to choose the courses even in the mobile itself, right? And then let me also give you some glimpses on how would I get to see multiple enrollment related reports, or if I'd like to have more understanding on how which courses are being taken. So if you can see here, I do have the pre-enlistment reports where I can get to see the enlistment reports, and then towards the left hand side you do have a multiple report launches systems, right, where I can go ahead and see all the enrollment related reports, right? I can see the enrollment statuses of the students, right? So all of these can be seen very well in the system. If you can see, I'll just show you some reports on, let us say for the same business program, right? I can see student-wise reports. As you can see, for that particular program, all the registered students and how many courses they have enrolled into can be seen here, right? When there is an enrollment count, what are the 4 courses that they are a part of? Right? I can see this for all the set of students. Likewise, I can see not enrolled reports, print completed reports, right? Print student credit hours, right? So all of these different types of reports can be generated out of the system, right? So that is to give you a quick glimpse on to the choice-based enrollment, and which brings in immense flexibility and a student centricity into the system, where as a student I have a full autonomy over what I want to study, under whom I want to study, and also have a freedom of being able to defer some courses, being able to hold for some time, have a residency break for it, or in true sense tomorrow post NEP 2020's implementation, we will have quite a few IHLs being established across the country, where you will have a lot of internal sliding happening, student transfers happening, and then things like I do have a academic audit bank where the student choose to study few credits in different institutions, and then post that, once I accumulate the credits, I should be able to get a complete uh, you know uh, my based on my credits I can get my graduation, or I can get my degree. So all those concepts have been well implemented in the CAMO system by virtue of supporting multiple international clientele. We are able to mold the system as per the requirements and in tune with the flexible enrollment for the students. So before I open this floor for the questions, I'd like to also show you one quick glimpse onto the students transcript. This is how the students transcript would look like, right? Where I get to see how much percentage they have completed. Just in a case if they are transferred students, I get to see all the transferred credits. Then each of the semester, which program, how many credits, what is the grade that they have attained. If there is a change, I can see it in the history, right? And then again, if at all, I being a super user, I do have edit access. So I can go ahead and change the grade systems, change the grade, mark it as deferred, or freeze it once I've finalized it. All of this can be done, right? And then you can see the credits that are earned. So again, in terms of calculations of your GPA, CGPA, immense flexibility. Each institutions can configure how they want to go ahead and define the formulae for the GPA or CGPA calculation. Even the grading system itself can be a absolute grading system or a relative grade system. So all that can be done in the system, right? So that is to give you a complete overview on what is that we do in terms of choice-based enrollments and how the full registration process of the students is being automated in the CAMU, right? So I believe we have. Thank you all. Thank you so much.